This is the Balanced Growth Show with Dr. Travis Perry, helping successful business professionals like you achieve balance in their lives.
Welcome to another episode of the Balanced Growth Show. I'm your host, Dr. Travis Perry. Today, we have the privilege of speaking with John Stokes. He's the CEO and president of John Stokes Financial. His firm focuses on working with professionals in career transitions. With their hands-on knowledge of the entire transition process and how to transition and thrive, today John and his team host hundreds of workshops for Fortune 500 companies, outplacement firms, and federal and state agencies. Workshop topics include unemployment, investment and rollover options, federal and state benefits, retirement, and financial planning. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you, Travis. Thanks for having me here today.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to get to know you in the pre-show and hearing a little bit about your story, but I always like to let you tell it. You tell it better than anyone else. So how did you get here? How did you become a financial advisor and planner for those in career transition?
Well, it was certainly by circumstance, and just for your listeners and viewers, I'm originally from New Zealand. So yes, I am a Kiwi and I'm proud of. So when I came to America, I came here with the intentions of kind of working my way into a new life, a new lifestyle. Although I loved New Zealand, I lived in Australia, and I had an automotive engineering background. So I thought, coming to America, I had the opportunity of that being available. So I did that for a little while and was laid off. And thought to myself, I really want to try something differently. So I ended up working at different jobs, eventually working my way into the Beverly Hills Country Club. So there I am serving the rich and famous, and did that for a couple of years, worked on more the membership side of it. So my main responsibilities was interface with these, for intensive purposes, power people, very influential, and get them into the country club via membership. So it was a process. And during that, I got to know several people, obviously, one being a financial advisor, and he recommended, John, if you want, come and spend a day with me in the office. And for all intents and purposes, the rest is history. I did that. I felt that the country club business was great. It was fun. But really not where I wanted to go long term. So I thought, like most of us, we fall into this business through different avenues. Mine was that. I started off working with a big Fortune 50 company, went through their training, was excellent, absolutely enjoyed it, but realized that I'm better served kind of doing my own thing, right? And basically in the first month or so of being a financial advisor, I was asked to go to a very large company. It was laying off 400 people. And in that process, got to realize that there is opportunity here. Not only that, during that period, I really wanted to, at that point, that was 20 years ago, where this whole thing of niche, work with the niche didn't mean anything to me. My management, the company I was working with, was all about go help everybody. Doesn't matter who it is, just go out and help everybody. And in a sense, I did, but I was helping people very specific to that layoff situation. My father worked with Kiwi shoe polish back in New Zealand for 44 years. He was laid off, and I saw how that negatively impacted his life. As I said earlier, I got laid off as an engineer, and I thought to myself, that's not cool. I don't like that. So I went ahead and basically made that my niche and gravitated towards that. And this is what I do the last 20 years.
What a great story. Someone who's made a career change and now helps other career changers through that transition financially. I think it's awesome that you have that experience. I'm sure your clients, because you've learned to niche and help that specific group, they connect with you. They have a level of understanding, and you understand their situation better than someone else who maybe hasn't been through that experience. I don't know, but I found that to be true in my own life. And I found that having a niche, not only is it a great marketing strategy, but quite honestly, it allows me to work with the people that I like working with, the ones who get me and the ones I want to work with. We live in America where we can choose, and we're grateful and fortunate that we have that opportunity. So I love what you're all about here, John. Why is it important, as you've been growing this business, to help others who are outplaced or transitioning business wise, that, you're growing this business, that you have great balance?
Well, I see that every day in my life where people getting laid off. Laid off is the term laid off is very negative. In many ways, I've been trying to change that mentality for many, many years with challenges, and that's why we call it transition. Everything that we do is related to the word transition. You're transitioning from your company, from company A to company B. You're going to make financial decisions, right? Every time that you leave company A to go to company B, not only do you have to make financial decisions on the way out, but you have to make financial decisions into that new company. And or if you're not working on a W-2, not an employee of a corporation, and you want to become self-employed, or you want to be a 1099, we're seeing a huge big change, are we not? In that whole structure with all this gig economy now and the way people are working, we believe that our clients have to be served not only from the standpoint of just financial advice, but what direction do you really want to go? Do you have to take that next corporate executive job? Or would you prefer to do something else during that career? So we work in conjunction with very large outplacement firms that are taking care of that career move. And then we step in with the financial planning. So we have all that synchronized now. As far as growth, we grow every single day of our lives, both on the human level, on that growth level, and also on the level of what our clients expect of us. That's a daily process.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, it's a big part of what you do and how you even help your clients. So as an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. I know you have a team that's working with you, and you help train them, and balances them. It's important for your own culture, right? So how have you been able to keep that culture alive in your practice and scale your business while keeping, again, that balance?
The first thing I learned was I love meeting the people. I love introducing them to the story and the story of the company as we help you in transition. Not many companies do that. In fact, I was working with that Fortune 50 company. When I told my manager my business plan is to help people that got laid off, he thought that was ridiculous. He says, John, what have they got to? You came from the Beverly Hills Country Club. Would you not be better be served to go back and do presentations there? That's where the money is. All right. Well, no, I felt like I needed to help these people in transition. As I said earlier, it's more of a calling than it is a business. And as I started to build in what I was good at, and my job is to make the connection. Some people call it rainmaking, right? Because we're in Southern California, it doesn't rain that often. I just call it connection, right? So that's my daily job, is to make that connection and tell the story of the company. So I realized that I'm not good at filling out applications. So that's something I'm not going to do. So my first hire was, I'm going to teach somebody how to use our technology that we had at that time. It's since got a lot better, obviously, because when I first started, it was pretty much an application that you printed out, right, and you handed it off. You had to go through it and get that completed. And then from there, I started delegating. I looked at my strengths. I read the book Michael Gerber wrote, The E-Myth. The E-Myth was I carried that around like it was my E-Myth Bible, if you would. And every time I had my challenges, and you mentioned I'm an entrepreneur. I'm really not. I don't see myself as an entrepreneur. I see myself as somebody that makes the connection. And I have a whole team of experts now, right? There's 8 of them that they are experts in their field, because we bring them in and we train them as experts, as subject experts.
And, as you mentioned that, I'm sitting here thinking about my career as I was a financial planner struggling with time. And so I read Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth, and I even got some coaching from one of his very first coaches, which led me into the world of coaching. And now here I am full circle, coaching others on time management. We use these principles all the time. So I'm with you. I think that, again, it's super, super valuable to understand as a business owner how you're able to keep that balance by not doing the things that you shouldn't be doing, right? And focusing on the areas that you should be focusing. We call it the work sweet spot. Those 4 or 5 of activities that are super important for your business to grow, but also your enjoyability. What do you enjoy doing? And how are you compensated for that? What would you say, John? Throw us a little bit about, your Achilles heel here, as far as I know. Balance hasn't always been awesome in your life. You haven't always had the greatest balance, so to say. And you've worked on it, you've improved it. Same here. Like I'm a recovering productive workaholic. And I say that because it's very true. I was definitely there, and you read my book, you hear all about those stories. But what is it that you've struggled with? What is your biggest struggle even now as you're trying to scale this business? What are some things, weaknesses that maybe that you stumble over? I know our listeners love to be able to relate and understand and go, oh yeah, I struggle with that too. What might that be for you?
It ultimately is about trusting what you're good at and what you know you're good at, and also trusting what you're not good at, or more important, what you don't think you should be good at. So making sure that you start with that. I had challenges over the years with financial advisors that came to my firm. They saw the potential because they never had to cold call. They never had to go out there and bang on the doors. 100% of our business to this day has all been referrals. And because I've created this niche and separated myself from the herd of advisors, if you would, it just continues. So, pre-COVID, we were doing close to 150 seminars, quote unquote, workshops a year, educational workshops. So it would be constantly traveling with my team of advisors. And so, unfortunately, on the flip side of that is I've had few of them leave over the years because maybe I couldn't get the compensation model in place to their satisfaction and my satisfaction too. So that hurts, because in this business, it's about relationships. Majority of clients stay with our firm, but there's those that leave the firm, right? So I've had kind of ebbs and flows. So definitely my challenge has been bringing in advisors that not only that I trust, but are going to be a good fit long term. That's been corrected. Now we don't hire per se what we call external advisors. Everybody that comes into John Stokes Financial is an employee and is hired under that framework. So we don't outsource, if you would.
Yeah. How has that helped change the culture now that you've made that change? How has that been more beneficial to the culture of balance and retention?
Retention is 99% now. And the commitment to the teamwork is tremendously successful now. And we had a goal of reaching a certain AUM this year. It's already been reached. I just can't believe it. It's unbelievable. I didn't think I was going to reach this till middle of November, but with the teamwork working together and supporting me on making those connections, and is being tremendously successful.
Yeah, so great to hear. So many struggle with building a team. They think, well, I've got to stay solo. I've got to do this alone. And there are many solo advisors who do well. And if they're in that camp, I usually tell them, make sure you have great virtual assistants so that you can offload and delegate the things that you don't want to do. If you build a team like you have in person, there's culture, there is expectation, there's compensation, there are things that, are to be reckoned with, and variables that depend on, being at least compensatory to what they desire, or yeah, you're right, they will leave. And so retention is very much an issue for those in-person, groups like yours. And I've found that balance is a big part of that. A lot of employees will leave companies if they find they don't have the right balance or access to that balance, and that culture is crucial. So it sounds like you're doing something really well with that as well. Why don't you tell us what are the maybe 1, 2, or 3 tips that you would share with other entrepreneurs, business owners when it comes to retaining employees because of having that right balance?
One of the big things is I have found is respect them. Have tremendous amount of respect. Don't look at them as just part of the team or part of their hired to do this, that, and the other. Treat them just like we've all heard. Treat other human beings the way that you want to be treated. Right? Get into meetings with them. I meet with my staff on a regular basis. We have team meetings. We have shoot the breeze meetings. It cannot be about business, it's just about life. We give each of our employees their birthday day off. Right? So if the birthdays are Monday through Friday, they get that day off. It's paid. If it's in the weekend, they get whatever they choose. So give them perks, give them tools of appreciation. There's a huge lack of appreciation that goes on. I see that firsthand for people that are getting laid off. There's no better person out there that sees that front end. Right? And I have organizations that contact me, large organizations that contact me going, John, we're laying off 200, 300, 400 people. The one I'm working on right now is 200 people. These are C-suite and executives, highly compensated people. And I'll always ask them, what did you love about your company and what did you dislike/hate? And most of the time, because they've been laid off, it's, I hate the fact that I got laid off. Right? They're very upset about that. So I do the opposite. Right? I don't lay off. I don't think I've ever laid off an employee in 20 years. Right? And if I did, it was due maybe a compliance related issue. Not that we need to repeat that, or something along those lines, but it's never been, we're going to lay. So I'm always very, very protective. I always have my employees back. Hence why we have such a very high retention ratio now.
So good. I mean, you're learning from hundreds, thousands of clients you've dealt with about what it is that they're struggling with in their experience. And you're able to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to focus on the opposite. I'm going to do something different. That's wise advice. Most of the books I've ever read about employee retention and building a team has everything to do with the culture, expectation, and how do your goals line up with theirs and the company vision if they're not in line with that. And lack of appreciation usually is at the top of all of these concerns. They don't feel appreciated and the money is the same in another company, they're out. They're gone. They want to feel that appreciation, even in the process of being let go. If the company downsizes, having a good company culture where if somebody leaves, and they still can speak highly of that business. Right. That's a good company culture, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And to that point, as I said earlier, I've had financial planners come and go from the company. And I always felt like, boy, I'm giving them a lot. 99% of their actual clients came through the channels of my presentations, my workshops, if you would, and what we do. I've always taken great pride of, here we go, here's the business. And since I've changed my mentality, I know that they have to work for it, they have to service it and likes of. But ultimately, what I've learned is the gratitude side of things. We forget that G word often, right? Gratitude. Have gratitude, not only for yourself and your work-life balance, but also tremendous gratitude for your clients and those employees. And treat them as such.
Appreciate this. Great advice. I love that you're speaking this language that a lot of us need to hear. We need to be reminded to be grateful for them. We're grateful for our own team, and know that we can't do this all ourselves. We can't do this without them. And the fact that you guys reached your milestone, even just right after the first quarter, or right during the first quarter, versus the end of the year, is a tribute to your team effort and your approach. And I've seen this change even in your industry, our industry, the financial advisors, who have gone from a solo approach to let's go towards a team approach. The balance that I see these firms in the team approach have, and the success is both there. The balanced growth is a byproduct of bringing together great people to make everything work. Well, I love this conversation that we've been having, John. If there is one piece of advice you'd give to others who are going through transition, who may be, looking at that layoff there. It seems like every day on LinkedIn, I'm on there and there's another, this company's laying off, this company's laying off. These are hard times for people, for executives who have been very successful in their business. And maybe they're listening, or maybe there's advisors or other business owners who know of an individual and they want them to listen to this podcast. What parting advice would you give them?
I always start with this. Stop and self-reflect. Take time away. You don't have to put your resume, don't have to put your LinkedIn straight up. You don't have to put your resume out there. Americans are busy people. We work very hard. We work, I think, very smart. And we work for the better of ourselves, but beyond America itself. So be as it may, self-reflect and really look inside your life to go, is this where I need to be? Can I make that career transition like John? Should I make that career transition? So that's number one. Once you ascertain that, then find that work culture that truly makes sense. And that's more prevalent these days. You can just go on to, Glassdoor as an example. Just go on to social media and just start typing away. What's the culture like at XYZ company? You will find information on it, more than you can ever imagine. And start working towards your total satisfaction. Don't look at it as just being work. Don't look at it just being a career. Integrate that process with everything else you're doing in your life. And that's what I highly believe in, is that whole integration of your inner purpose and your outer purpose in life.
Beautiful. Love it. I appreciate this advice for your time. And you've been a great guest. And I know that if others want to reach out to you, they can go to johnstokesfinancial.com, right? Is that the website?
Yeah.
I'm looking right here. We'll have that in the show notes below. Great resource to utilize, to contact you, to discuss, what they might need of your help services. And others that are listening to this podcast, this episode, if you've loved this, let us know. Go to Apple or Spotify, rate our podcast. Let's get this message out there and this movement of balanced growth. We want to be able to spread the message that John and others have been giving on the show. And we really appreciate your time and listenership. And until next time, remember, live life on purpose. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Travis.